from UTM, Johor Bahru, and now I'm in the city making agency, an impact organization called ThinkCity. I believe some of you have already listened to the sharing from my colleague Nicole earlier about ThinkCity, but I'll just quickly flip through. So ThinkCity is an urban impact organization that look at how we can make cities more people-friendly, resilient, and livable. And we are a subsidiary of Khazanah National, and we started in 2009 in Georgetown. And after the Georgetown Transformation and Grants Program, we expanded to KL and Butterworth in 2014, and subsequently 2016 in Johor Bahru. And now we have footprint in Southeast Asia and also India, Hyderabad recently. So ThinkCity is a think and do tank, and we did various type of projects. And why it's important is because from a higher level of territorial or regional planning, city planning, strategic master planning, precinct planning is need to be tied to our findings from the ground, which is through project implementation on the ground. So like what you guys has did in Petaling Street, went on site and then to look, listen and smell the site, and to observe how people use the space, what is the behavior of people in the space, and what a sense of space, place that we can find out from there. It's important because from the site finding, we then fit into the higher level planning, so we can drive things holistically. And ThinkCity provide a neutral platform for public, private, and community to come together, leveraging from the technical expertise from other international agencies like UNESCO, Aga Khan Trust for Culture, and UNH. And this is the process that we usually apply in our projects, which first we discover, understanding the site, while we design, we conduct stakeholder engagement, community engagement, and test our idea with them, because they are the one who are going to use the site. And then, because usually when we have conversation, it's a bit hard for community to imagine how it's going to be. So we test out our ideas through demonstrative projects, test out the components, and then from there we evaluate what works, what doesn't work. For example, I give you an example, like in a back lane in Johor Bahru that we work on, the community wanted more green, and they said, we'll help you to take care of the greening, no worries. But after 3 months, you can see the plants are trying hard to survive. Yeah. So yes, community play a big role in public space, but it's not easy to get them to champion the site. So this require relationship building throughout the process, involving them throughout the process, even the design phase. Okay, because they request it, they need to own it and help, and together we can build the place together lah. So after the demonstrative project, then only we will continue with implementation, full implementation. So right now we have 4 flagship: urban mechanics, environment and social, strategic analytics, and also culture-based economic development. And our impact is across almost 10 years is about 900 million ringgit in terms of economic value. What I want to highlight here is actually the co-investment ratio, where every ringgit that we put in the program, we managed to gather 3 ringgit to come together. This is important to build the sense of ownership for the site owner, for the community, from the agency to play a role, so that the project will be more sustained. And this is Johor Bahru. I'm actually based in Johor Bahru. Was founded in 1855. Before that, it was a small fishing village. You can see this picture is around 1950s. I'm not sure you guys are familiar with Johor Bahru. It's located next to Singapore, where you can take a train from here, from the old railway station, all the way to Singapore. And there's a Sungai Segit project in the city center. It's right now the biggest public space in the city center, driven by Iskandar Regional Development Authority. So throughout the years, you can see it has been developed so rapidly, um, and this is where the railway station is right now. Okay, this is the huge custom and immigration complex. If you want to go to Singapore, okay, and you have only 200 plus units of old shop houses left in Johor Bahru, compared to almost 5,000 in Georgetown. Okay, so this site is relatively smaller, and together with the city council and also others, government agency and community, we are trying to revitalize Johor Bahru under the JB Johor Bahru Revitalization Program. This is to facilitate and align and streamlining multiple effort to position downtown JB as a site for sustainable living and vibrant destination. Okay, so just now I mentioned territorial level planning. So we did a Malacca Straits diagonal study to understand how different city and town can function together, looking beyond state boundary, looking beyond taking consideration of geographical boundary and so forth. So you can see in KL, we are looking at Greater Kuala Lumpur, which includes even Seremban, taking into consideration of Seremban. And in Johor, how do we form so-called one city, three countries? So historically, the Johor Empire encompassed Johor, Singapore, and the Riau Islands. So historically, it was one country, and then now it's split into three countries. But looking at the geographical location, how we can still work together and function together as a super city potentially. And looking across the straits of Johor, in Singapore, this is where the rapid transit system going to be at Woodland North LRT station, connecting to Johor through Bukit Chaga. And they have a long-term plan already in the area in preparation for the RTS. Okay, so in the future, it will be just 5 minutes away from Singapore, from Malaysia, via the RTS. And this is the plan that Singapore Urban Redevelopment Authority is planning, looking at on over next 15 years, new spaces for business, industry, research and development at Woodland. And another site at Jurong Lake District, okay, they also plan in preparation for HSR, high-speed railway, okay, turning previously a industry or a place that people don't want to stay into a place where we want to live, work and stay there, okay. And looking in Indonesia, they're also looking at turning Batam into a Nongsa Digital Park and improving connectivity of Batam and Bintan Islands. Okay, so all this development that is upcoming in the region is they are already preparing, and if we in Malaysia don't take a proactive step, we can be left over lah. Yeah. So in downtown Johor Bahru, this is where ThinkCity working on currently. It is a heritage core of Johor Bahru. And how do we look at RTS link, the upcoming LRT system connecting to Singapore can be a game changer, where positioning downtown JB as the entrance to Malaysia, not only the back door to of Singapore. Yeah, okay. And when the RTS is completed, it will be stations away from the Changi Airport. How do we then tap into a bigger region where Singapore Changi Airport is like an international transit node in the region? Okay, so we go into the map where this is the causeway built in 1924, and next year will be 100 years old in Johor Bahru, connecting to Singapore. And you can see the green colored area is Ibrahim International Business District. This is branded by the state government to drive the economic development in the area. And the blue colored area is the baseline study that ThinkCity has produced in 2016 to understand the land use and population in the area before we start our program. And the purple color area is the CBD area defined by the City Council. And the orange color area is the gazetted heritage zone in Johor Bahru. So, like what I mentioned just now, trying to revitalize Johor Bahru with the City Council and others, government agency and community. And these are our findings, where you can see within the study area, the blue color, the yellow colored study area, there's only 3,242 residents, while there are 15,000 jobs available in the city center, which means people are staying somewhere else and travel every day for work, which eventually causing the traffic congestion issue. So these are some of the information we have gathered, not forgetting the land use, where are the underutilized space, like what you guys have did in the site A and B in the Petaling Street, potentially can become a community center, and how we can play a role in Petaling Street. And then we set up our office, firstly in 2016 in Jalan Pahang. It's a very small office, and the toilet is so small that when you do business, you need to like squat a bit, sengit. Yeah? So this is one of the characteristics of old shop houses in JB. It looks a bit smaller compared to KL and Georgetown, but this is part of the heritage fabric. But we need to understand why it was designed like that. And taking the streetscape or townscape example in Johor Bahru, the shop houses there are more simpler in terms of the design or the form, and not so decorative, because the community stay there or occupy the space there more for work purpose. And back compared to KL and Penang as a port town, there are more traders who has more resources to decorate their house. So that's why you can see some of the shop house in Penang is much more decorated in terms of in form, with ornaments and so forth. Okay, so these are the few achievements that we have tried to achieve in the past few years, and we managed to complete 112 projects in the city center. It's a mix of physical and soft programming. And out of 4 million funded under the program, we managed to gather 15 million co-investment to the program. And before I go into a bit more detail about placemaking, I'll play a short video to help you guys visualize the place. Okay, thank you. So you can see it's not only a physical project, but looking at content curation, content creation, so that when people visit Johor Bahru, it's not only just hipster cafe or buy banana cake, but it's a lot more than this. Yeah. So taking in terms of a methodology, we are applying a placemaking approach where in the area we are looking at a strategic placemaking, looking from a area improvement plan point of view, and we have a public realm improvement, which is the hardware, space activation through the software, and also place management in terms of the orgware. Yeah. So placemaking is a process of creating vibrant places where people want to live, work, play, and learn in. The process includes planning, design, and management, and is fundamentally grounded in community participation. Okay, so a lot of placemaking project is important in terms of its process, not only the output of it, but involving the stakeholders throughout the process. And we have 7 principles, which is making it a journey for placemaking project, create more than a destination, foster inclusivity and participation, catalyze innovation through small actions. We believe in power of small, so not necessarily all projects need to be like big skill and so on. Encourage learning and relearning, understanding behavior to influence behavior, like what you guys are doing in Petaling Street. How do you guys design a place that influence how people use a space? Yeah? And also, not to forget to consider economy. Dollar and cents is also as important as well to sustain a project. So I will only share 2 projects because of the time limit. I will fly through. Yeah. So the first one is Coronation Avenue project. This is a partnership between ThinkCity and Johor Bahru City Council. And similar to what you guys did in site assessment, understanding the site, we did cultural mapping, and also a different layer of assessment before we come up with the master plan. And this is one of the street, it's called Jalan Dobi, because there was a lot of Dobi shop in the along this street. So before and after, we managed to reclaim the public space from vehicular use for pedestrian use. So we have more enough space for people to walk. Yeah, not only considering normal people, but like if you are using stroller, you are using wheelchair, it will be more convenient. And also with raised crossing to prioritize human or people in terms of urban design. And this is not only a physical project where we started very small through community engagement. We also provide grants for facade improvement and also roof restoration. There's 14 stores of Hindu temple flower stores also been beautified in terms of its facade to celebrate its identity. Interpretation booklet to promote and celebrate the local cultural heritage, as in the religious institution and heritage traits. And we train 100 tour guides to tell the story of downtown JB. And this is the output. You can see we try to improve walkability, conserving built heritage, celebrating the cultural heritage, adapting climate change to nature-based solution, and also try to create an inclusive city. Yeah? And in terms of design, we working together with landscape architect and architect. We get inspired from the buildings, existing buildings of the religious institution around the area, and we try to show the idea of a street of harmony through a more subtle design, okay, and then incorporating street stormwater catchment, okay, through bioretention swale to filter the water before going to the drainage, okay. And this is a story that I wanted to share because while we are doing the streetscape in front of the Sikh temple, they came to us and asked what can they contribute to the projects. And this is the sense of ownership that we want to build together, leveraging on the construction, but how we can work together with the community to improve their part of land. Yeah. So this is the before and after, which is the landscaping is more tidy, even though it's a small improvement. And for this one is actually in back lane. So this is actually an extension of a kitchen, and this is the before picture where you can see it's all quite in a mess, and then there's even a toilet directly discharged to the drainage. Yeah, so you won't want to walk in the laneway. Okay. However, through a series of engagement with the shops, they have relocated into a proper shops here. Okay, and then the place that where previously they expanded to pedestrian walkway has been reclaimed. Okay, and then the laneway here is also been cleared out and being improved. So looking beyond human, what we can do for our nature or urban biodiversity through urban design, like simple greening, actually providing habitat for the small animals. And this is in terms of facade upgrading program. Okay, so this is a program supported by ThinkCity and MBJB. The story that I want to share here, or experience I want to share here, is actually these two units. You know, if you are the shop owner, you want to maximize your space. If you are not, if you don't really appreciate cultural heritage, you want to maximize your space for your business use purpose. Yeah. So you can see these two shop house has actually extended the wall to cover up the balcony. So in order to celebrate the facade of the shop houses, we managed to work together with the shop owners, and they give like 50-50 lah. So the 5-foot way, let's say is the balcony is 5 feet. So they give away 2.5 feet in order to show to public there are still balcony. Okay, so this is more on the celebrating the built heritage through this small intervention lah. Okay, you can see the signage has also been reorganized, yeah, and with the architecture lighting to celebrate the building at night. And through the booklets, we try to promote our local traders and local history. And also not forgetting makanan. Food is very important in Malaysian life. So where to eat is very important. This, I believe, for you guys, everyday lunch or dinner, you say, hey, makan mana ah? Yeah, so maybe now with AI, you can actually, use AI to ask ChatGPT where to eat today. By searching KL food trail, for example. Yeah. So this trail actually help for people who don't know about Johor Bahru to know a bit more, to solve their basic needs, which is eat, makan, okay? And through training the tourist guide, they tell the stories of Johor Bahru and help the visitor to know a bit more about the local history. And this is another project called White Space. It is built more than 100 years ago. It was vacant about 10 years, and before it turned into a curated store and also a cafe and event space. So how we started this is taking a conservation approach, where a conservator is engaged to come up with a dilapidation study to understand what are the significance of architecture feature and then providing um, knowledge to the owner how to restore the building. And this is the before and after. Okay. So right now it's a curator store where the owner collects local and creative products, so that there's more um, culture content in Johor Bahru for people to look, see and feel. Okay. And besides these two projects, we also advocating for content creation in Johor Bahru, so people know more about Johor or Johor Bahru through publication, events and programming. So in conclusion, I think placemaking is not only just things happening on the street, things happening on the public space, but considering the physical realm and the public space and the private entity, and how we can curate the content that celebrate the local identity. So with that, I would like to end my sharing. Thank you so much.
So guys, makan mana? Okay, thank you, Mr. Gan, for the session. All right, guys. Now is the time that most of us are waiting for. All right. Which is the? Is there any question want to ask to Mr. Gan? Anyone? Before we move on to the next agenda. Nak makan? Or you guys already want to makan? Muriti, makan. Makan. Okay. All right. So with that, thank you very much to Mr. Gan for such an informative sharing session on placemaking. Now, our next agenda is the makan. Seriously, it's about makan, because now we're going to have a break. Yeah, clap lah. Right. Now we're going to have a break for approximately. Now is what time? Half an hour. Half an hour. So we're gonna coming back here for the next session by Prof. Suhana, and I need 5 volunteers to distribute the food. The food is over there. The food was prepared by Mr. Sean. And Lester one. Okay, all right. So you guys can have your meal in this room, or